Okay, well, there's a line in the sand. Would have known that it was going to be the phenomenon that it is. And really, guys, really? Yes, I'm not sure we can keep that in.
Now, coverage like no other. Bringing you videos from the event floor. You're watching convention coverage.
We have the original Goku right here, Mr. Ian James Corlett. Right on.
My name is Goku.
And of course, I've already gushed over you with this before, but I mean, Cheetor, Beast Wars, Beast Machines. Yeah. I mean, gosh.
You're Ultra Gear.
Ultra Gear.
Yeah.
You get Rat Trap, you got Scott talking to you. Kid, don't do that.
We were just talking about Scotty. Yeah. Good old Scotty.
How's he doing?
He's doing good. I haven't seen him in a while. Last time I was in Vancouver, I bumped into him. And you know, he's Scotty. He's doing his thing.
He is. Him in that cowboy hat, man.
In his cowboy hat and his long hair. I have hair envy with Scott. Doing the best. I always forget the guy's name. What's the band? The '90s band that did Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Oh, who did that? Who did Every Rose Has Its Thorn? Was that Skid Row? No, Bret Michael Poison?
Yeah, that's Bret Michaels is doing a Scott McNeil impersonation.
Oh, he is. So how have you been, sir?
I've been really good. I've been really, really good. Getting back into doing some appearances and conventions is really kind of a thrill. I really didn't do a lot of conventions historically because I had a family and I wasn't that, I don't know, just wasn't, it wasn't in the cards at the time.
Actually, I think you were supposed to be at one of the bot cons, and your child was born.
That's right.
And you had to drop back.
That's right. Yeah. So like that's early days.
Yeah.
And then I just, you know, then they started growing up, and I was like, I don't want to be away every weekend with a whole bunch of people that I don't know when I got these little kids and stuff. So I really didn't do it, and I kind of missed the boat, and you know, just didn't. So fast forward to, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and I said, you know, I'm going to start getting out there and saying hello to people. And so I did, and hit, and then I didn't. So it's really a thrill to sort of, you know, come back and meet people and talk and take questions and hopefully, you know, make their day a little brighter with some stupid comments.
Well, I said it's a pleasure to meet you again. Years ago was the last time I saw you,
Yeah,
and
it was ages ago.
Yeah, and it's definitely great to have you at the show, so thank you very much. And you definitely have a following. You're still very relevant with what you do and what you are still doing.
Thank you.
So, I mean, again, Finch from Destiny. You guys play Destiny? Yeah, Hive Ghost Finch right here.
Got
Come on.
Destiny fans. Psst, hey, come here. Let me show you the way. That was a really fun project. You know, I'll tell a little story about Destiny. You know, you get hired for these things. I'm not particularly a gamer. So, like every title, you know the big ones. And you go, it sounds like one of those big ones. But often your part is not, you know, big part within the game. And the first session we did, there was, you know, a handful of producers and writers and stuff online. And they said, oh, you know, this is we're going to do a bunch more sessions. There's a lot to do with this character, and it's a really different character than what is usually in our game. And I went, oh, okay. And then the next session, there was like twice as many people on the other line. The third session, there was even more than that. And they're all going, we're just loving what you're doing. The fans are going to be, they're going to eat this up. And they kept telling me that the Destiny fan base was awesome and really involved and really, you know, into voice talent and the game. And I said, yeah, okay. And then sure enough, like the game comes out and boom, my inbox is just like boom, boom, boom. Oh, you're the voice of Finch, the Finch. And I went, oh, the Finch. Oh, right, I did that game. Because it's, you know, months and months before. So it's been a really great experience working with Destiny 2, and hopefully we'll do some more.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I mean, they just constantly build and build and build on that game.
Yeah.
I have a player that I play with, a younger guy, and he reads all the lore. He goes in through all the story, and we'll be sitting there playing, and he's just explaining stuff, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love it.
They do have a big fan base. Yes, sir.
What was recording for a game like versus doing classical anime?
Very different. Anime, like there's acting for games is very different than acting for dubbing or anime, which is also very different than acting for what we call prelay, which is when you record all the dialogue first and then they make the animation afterwards. And they're very different disciplines. Fortunately, I'm able to work within each one of them. But a game is a lot more like recording for prelay animation now, because very rarely do you get in the same room with a group of people anymore. It used to be traditionally you would kind of get as many of the actors as was in the episode together, and you would all be in the same room, and you'd sort of circle a group of microphones, and it was like doing a radio play. We literally my line, your line, action, and since it hit, almost everything went to recording remotely. Now, fortunately, I've had a digital recording studio in all of my houses for 30 years. So I was really already up and running, and it was not a challenge technically. So when you record for a game, you just get these banks of dialogue, and each line has like you experience in the game. And then it's up to whoever's directing it to go, okay, here's what's happening. And then the line makes sense. So now that's very much the way we record prelay animation, where you have a script but you're on your own. There's no one else in the room. Now dubbing or anime is a whole different discipline, because the animation already exists, and it's in a way it's more technical, because you have to watch what's there, and the character's going pop, 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 and the script might not quite fit with exactly what their mouth movements are. So there's a technical aspect to the acting for dubbing that is not there in games and traditional animation.
So over the years, because you've been doing this for definitely a very long time. I mean, my first experience with you was Beast Wars. And I do remember the Goku. Of course, Sean Schummel is. Can I ask that? How did that?
You can ask whatever. Sure.
I don't want to step on any toes or anything, but
I'll let you know if you do.
Okay. All right. How was that when Funimation took over DBZ? And
well, I don't even look at it as that they took it over. I was already out of the production by that point. And it had really nothing to do with Funimation. It was the producers in Vancouver that I was busy. I was busy doing other projects, and recording for anime or dubbing was not a lucrative proposition for an actor. It was very, very low pay, and it continues to be very low pay. But at least now, with the benefit of hindsight, you're really realizing that there's such a huge fan base, and there's such a huge back end of things like this, coming to conventions and being able to meet the fans and be involved, and plus be able to make some of that money back that isn't there initially when you make these recordings. So in those days, I mean, there really wasn't conventions like there are today.
No, definitely not.
No one knew Dragon Ball was going to be a giant hit. No one knew anime was going to be a giant phenomenon. So for me, it was like, this is just taking a lot of time. It's really stressful vocally.
All the yelling.
All the yelling. And here, okay, I'll tell you a story. I mean, if a role requires yelling, I yell. I do. It's your job. But there was one point where this producer said, because there was a, to put it kindly, there was a lack of trust on both sides. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just make sure my line count is accurate, at the end of the day. And, so I would tick off these lines and, so many words equal to line, da-da-da-da-da. And if you're within 10% of what you think the lines are, that's fine. But I went in at the end of the day, I said, okay, I did 600 lines or something. And they said, no, you did 450. And I went, okay, now wait a second. That's
a big
way
discrepancy.
Too big a discrepancy. And, well, we're not counting vocalizations. And I went, well, what? Well, a vocalization, like a yell, that's not a line because there's no words. And I went, okay, well, there's a line in the sand. From that point on, I went, okay, well, if you're not going to pay me, I actually said this. I said, if you're not going to pay me to scream, use the Japanese guy. I mean, it's already there. Oh, you can't do that. Well, maybe you can, because I'm not going to do it for nothing. That's the worst part of it, is screaming. So anyway, from that point on, I started to lose my appetite a little bit for the work conditions. So I was already gone and done with Dragon Ball before Funimation decided to move it to Texas. And it's a business, right? I mean, they can do whatever they like. If they feel that they can get the quality of talent that they need for their productions locally. They were getting tired of flying to Vancouver all the time. We didn't have the digital technology. Well, we did, but they didn't use it. We didn't have the digital technology like Zoom and stuff today, where it's like, oh, fine, we'll do it remotely.
Just send it to me.
Yeah, you don't have to fly up every week to, crack the whip. So it really didn't affect me at all. Like I say, good for you guys in Texas. You got handed what was then a really popular franchise, and I remember reading some articles on the actors in Texas saying, how thrilled they were to be auditioning for Dragon Ball. And it was, you couldn't get a different response than when we started it, because it's like, Dragon Ball, what's that? It's just another anime or dubbing project that who knows what this is. Whereas by the time it was moving, these characters were already established. They were really trying to recreate the voices that
you guys had
existed.
done, yeah.
And they were really excited about it, and rightly so. It's like, oh my goodness, I could be on Toonami next week. Well, that's exciting. So I don't have any issue with actors. I've been replaced lots of times. A perfect example, maybe on a much larger scale, is Beast Wars. I know you're a big fan of Beast Wars, and they're going to make a movie. Well, they don't knock on my door. Hey, you know what? We remember you as Cheetor, and we're going to hire you to do the. No, they're going to get Ryan Reynolds or whoever the hell they're going to, whatever. It happens.
That's like what they did with Frank Welker and Megatron. They got Hugo Weaving in there, and then the fans were in an uproar.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the fourth movie comes around, and now we've got Frank back.
Yep. It happens. It happens. But you get replaced all the time. I never. There's no animosity at all.
Well, that's good. That's a good way of thinking about it. It's very positive.
Oh, I'm super positive. No, I'm not. I'm actually a really, really grumpy guy.
I'm a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
What have you learned from playing as Cheetor?
What I learned from playing Cheetor was that I could play a hero. Honestly. Before that, I don't think... I guess I did Goku before that? Or around the same time, maybe?
I think it was around the same time, because Beast Wars was 96, thereabouts when it came out.
Yeah.
So you were probably on working on it.
94, 95.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a couple of roles at the same time that made me realize that, because I like doing goofy stuff. Like I really like doing silly characters. And I kind of like when auditions would come up and it was like, oh, the heroic young lead, and I don't think so. That's not me. And then I started trying it, and that's what Cheetor really. The cool thing about Cheetor was, of course, you go into an audition. I say this as if you understand this. You may not know this. When auditions are held for a cartoon series, there's 3 or 4 or 5 characters that might be up for grabs. And you read for all of them. I mean, I read for Rat Trap, and I'm sure Scott read for Cheetor, and, So you try a bunch of stuff, and sometimes you just go, oh, that's not for me. But then you go, oh, I might as well try. And that was a really unique situation, because once I got the role, they said, by the way, this guy's going to start out like this, and he's going to end up like this. And you almost never get a story arc at the beginning of a series like that, where they say, here's where it's going to go. Because usually you just, it's all top secret, and like, here's your script for this week, and, shush. So it was a great experience that way, because I knew right from the beginning that he was going to play a big role, and a heroic role in being sort of a commander. So that was a turning point for me. I was no longer scared of reading for heroes.
The hero.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a
Thank
good
you.
question.
So, when you won the role for Mega Man, what was your reaction that you were going to be doing the voice of a popular video game character at the time?
Yeah, and it was huge, actually. Similar to Beast Wars, not that we knew what Beast Wars would be necessarily, but we knew that it was part of Transformers, and it was like a whole new, like completely different Transformers. So like Transformers was one of those things where you just go, that's huge, that's really big. Mega Man was huge. Like everyone knew who the character was, who the game, all the different games at that point. So I was very excited, very, very, very excited. And then to have it be such a fun series, because you never know what they're going to be like, right? So yeah, I was thrilled beyond words.
Out of all the episodes, do you remember which one was the most difficult? Like which one where you needed to have like the most takes before you got the lines perfect?
Oh, name one.
Oh wow, that's a tough one. I just thought that you'd have one just.
No, I have a terrible memory for work. I have a really good memory for faces. I have a really good memory for events. But I mean, literally, without looking in my calendar, I can't tell you which sessions I did last week, let alone what episodes. Like I remember incidents at recording sessions, but I can't even peg it to an episode. Like there was, there was a time where a bunch of dumb boys, I'm referring to me and other actors, well, like every time there was a break, and it may have been Mega Man, but I know the studio we were in, because where we recorded Mega Man was this same studio. And if you could sense that there was going to be the director or the producer, they're going to turn around and they're going to have a chat for a couple of minutes after recording some stuff. It was like preschool in there, because we all had paper scripts at the time. There was nothing electronic. And you'd watch behind the window, go, okay, they're turning around, and grab your script, crumple it up, and like snowball fight in the studio until someone said, boys, stop it. And I'm pretty sure that was a Mega Man session that we would do that. And it was like clockwork. Like, oh, they're gonna go. Anyway. So, but I don't remember episodes.
That's okay.
Sorry to let you down.
No, not a problem. Actually, that story made up for it.
Okay.
You and your other cast members having fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
While everyone's back.
Definitely fun.
All right.
And what was that transition like, going from a room full of actors like an old radio play to solo? Just, I mean, not notwithstanding, but to just.
Well, for me, it's not that tough. I don't know. I just have an ability to work alone, and in many ways, I kind of prefer it. That's a terrible thing to say, because there's going to be actors that I work with who go, a terrible thing to say. Doesn't he like us? No, it's not that. It's just so efficient It's part of my background is German, and I'm sure I get a lot of efficiency genes from that. It's like, so you mean when the session starts at 1, I can be in front of my microphone at 1, and we can start? Yes. So there's no chitty-chatty or driving and looking for parking for an hour and then getting in and being, okay, and then you get in, and then, oh, no, we're not quite ready yet. Okay. So I really like the solo working. Now, there's a bunch of factors to that. I found when I moved to Los Angeles from Vancouver in 2015, and I was working in animation in Los Angeles, there was far less of the group record. You might get a couple of people, but largely you were recording on your own anyway. It was like one at a time because actors, especially in LA, are busy. They've got lots of projects going on, and you can't get everyone in the room at the same time. So it kind of, gets you used to, well, I'm working alone. At least you could, talk to the engineer, and, there's a little camaraderie there, and the director and stuff. But it wasn't such a shock to start working solo. And because I've always had like really good quality facilities built into wherever I'm living, it was not a big deal for me. And I kind of like it. There's definitely downsides to it, but if you've got a good voice director, which they are. I mean, I haven't worked with a kind of so-so voice director in ages, but the good ones really get it, and they know what's going on in the script, and everything melds perfectly. As an example, Disney feature animated films have almost never recorded as a group, and I think there's some classics there.
Oh, definitely.
And some great performances. I mean, Toy Story. It's just name it. And if the production team knows what they're doing, you're not gonna notice that it wasn't a group record.
What's your view on how much anime has progressed over the years as a medium?
Blown away. That's my view on it. When we first started working on dubbing Japanese animation, that was the first time. This is in the early 90s, like early 90s, 90. And the term anime was like a Japanese word that I believe just means like animation.
Well, I remember when I was younger, we used to just flat out call it Japanese animation.
Yeah.
And then we shortened it to like Japanime, and now it's now it's anime.
Right.
Yeah, it's.
But it looked so different than anything we had seen. And it's subjective, right? I mean, people reacted very strongly to it at first because, and the limited movement was also kind of jarring for North American eyes. So who would have known that it was going to be the phenomenon that it is? And not just Dragon Ball, but like so much stuff, even that is not made in Japan anymore, looks like anime. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's been a cultural phenomenon for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who was your favorite side character and why?
My favorite side character is actually one of the ones that I played. I don't know if he's a side character, if you would classify him. I just love Master Roshi because he's just such a fun character voice to do.
Yeah, he's really funny. I like that character too.
I mean, and plus, the stuff that guy comes out with. I was continually, really? Are we really going to put this in the show? Really? Oh, yeah, like little girls, oh, no. No. I remember, here's a scene. I don't think Roshi was in it. But it's not really on topic, but I'm going to tell it anyway. There was this scene, and you guys who are big Dragon Ball Z fans would probably know what this scene is. It was... Actually, I wasn't even sure it was from Dragon Ball, but someone told me, oh yeah, I think that's from Dragon Ball. Anyway, here's the scene. This group of characters are running to a cliff, and the girl falls over it, grabs onto a branch and hangs on for dear life. And of course, because it's anime, it's at night, and the shot is from below, so you can see her skirt and under her skirt, and she's hanging there, and we're I don't know if you know this or not, but I was involved in the writing and retranslation of those early episodes, which is why I know so much about Funimation and how it all came to be. So we're looking at this before we're recording, and we're going, okay, wait. Okay, so she grabs onto this branch, and then we go down to this shot, and we see her like this, and then stars fall from underneath her skirt. And we're going, what the hell is that? Is that some sort of magic? So we got to get on the phone to Tokyo or where whoever it was we had to call. Okay, we're working on scene 83.49, and there's this, and we describe it. It's the one where she hangs on the branch, and then these stars come down. What is? Tell us about that, because the line doesn't make any sense. And the guy, in his strong Japanese accent, warning, I'm going to do an accent. He goes, oh, no, that's not the magic. That's really, guys? Really? Yes, I'm not sure we can keep that in. Anyway, I'm not sure the true fans will know. I don't know if we'd kept it in or not, or we called it something else. Maybe we turned it into magic.
What's your favorite show that you did?
You mean like a series?
Yeah, series, yeah.
That's easy. No, that's hard. That's hard.
It's like picking your child, man.
Kind of. And there's a connection here to that. I think it's now, this is not a big fan favorite in this room or at this convention, but it's Dinosaur Train. Because I recorded those with my two kids. They were the two main little dinosaurs, Buddy and Tiny.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
it was like we went to work together. It was really, really, really fun and terrifying for me, because you go into work with your kids. That's weird. So I made sure I sat way over there, and they were way over there, and I just went, okay, I'm not gonna direct in my head. I'm just gonna do my stuff, and just got up there and said, hello, Pteranodon family, and then let them do their stuff. But that was easily my most favorite series to work on, because of all sorts of
Yeah, that
factors.
seems like a really good memory.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Thank you.
one holding
Thank
on
you.
to. I'm sorry?
I see, and you're an adult now. I know.
You're
Yeah.
old.
Well, I'm spanning the generations single-handedly.
No, it's definitely good though, because you were down on the ground floor of Dragon Ball, and like you were saying, who knew that it would go where it's at? I mean, here we are, 30 years later, 4
Yeah.
TV series later down the road,
Yeah.
and it just keeps going and going and going. Multiple video games, movies. I mean, do you have any regrets about not being a part of that current?
Yeah, honestly, if I had a crystal ball, I would have said, okay, let me work out this not getting paid for screaming thing, and just sucked it up and went, oh, I'm going to keep going, because, yeah, it's a phenomenon. Anytime you're involved in a project that's a cultural phenomenon, whether doesn't matter what your opinion is of it, like if it's got a giant fan base, of course you want to be involved in it. So I'm just happy that people still remember my role in it, and that I'm, you still invite me around and say hi. So it's good. I mean, I've never stopped. It's so funny to me, because if you're really a singular fan of a certain thing, like let's say you're a Beast Wars fan. I'm just a Beast Wars fan, and they don't really realize that I've done all this other stuff. It's one of the things that people come up to me and say is, so are you still working? Well, yeah. Where have you been for the last 30 years? Like, I work every week, every day. But I'm not doing any more Beast Wars. So it's like, well, are you still doing that? Well, no, I'm not doing that. But there's lots and lots and lots.
That show ended 20 years ago.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm fortunate also to get my dad's genes of his vocal cords. Not that my dad was an actor by any means, but I mean, he lived till he was 93, and his outgoing voicemail message, every time I called him and he didn't pick up, I would listen to him. And aside from like a couple of little more cultural word choices, he sounded like a young man, like till he was really old. You know, of course, like at a certain point you start to slur, but his voice tone was very much that of a younger man. So as long as you don't look at me, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
That's right on. That's the way to go.
Yeah. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you very much, everybody. Give Ian a round of applause.